What the words hurt?
After walking around in them,
They're uncomfortable.
I think I need a half size bigger. Like my toes hurt. These my toes.
Okay, take them off. Cause the bottom, I don't want the bottom to get dirty. Yeah, do that. I'll handle. I'll handle wiping them off. You go to class tomorrow, right? Okay.
But yeah, just a half size.
We'll go to the store.
You want
Shit, I want you.
I happen to try.
Oh, crap.
Do you want after I finish folding stuff? Put your cream out tomorrow?
No.
I was gonna pick some up and bring it to Tina.
Tina.
Yeah. Didn't I tell you her grandma died?
Chat. You know I am live. I don't know if you want to say that. Chat. We in the building, man. Hold up. Hold up. Really there? Chat, we in the building. You feel me? Tight shift, you feel me? You know I'm coming, you feel me? No, look. We're about to give y'all some great content right now. I might bring Danielle back in here, but he said he's about to step out and get some food. He'll be back. Spam it up. I'm about to start soon. Y'all know how I get down. Elon not allowing links, so share that shit in the generals. Share that shit. And just tell them like, yo, DM folk. Oh, okay. I see somebody said they were watching the video and then everything came in at one time. Yeah, new method alert, not patched. Not patched, by the way. Not patched at all. Oh, I'm supposed to do something for somebody and I have not done it yet. My bad. Oh, tomorrow is tax day, by the way. Gotta get that done. All right. So I'm gonna be reacting to the video that was put out about OneCloud9 during this situation where apparently he got scammed by his editor, Alex. I want to give a little bit of backstory, but oh, I know why I was supposed to be on Twitter. Send out my tweet. Send out my tweet right quick. Shawty been eyeing on me. She looking like she thinking about trying me. Okay. Hold on. All right, so I'll say this to lay a bit of a landscape as to what's going on. OneCloud9 is content creator extraordinaire who has, I think, close to 400,000 across different platforms, things like that. And for what it's worth, you know, apparently he's a scammer. He's a scammer. Now, I will say this. I do know his editor, his ex-editor / friend Alex. And I do know OneCloud. If you've watched this channel, You've seen One Cloud 9 before in different interviews, on different streams and things of that nature. So I do know both of them. I know One Cloud 9's manager, Justin. I do know all these people beyond just, hey, I consume their content and I watch their videos. Not to the extent of, we've kicked it in real life, we've skated in real life, all these other things like that. But I do know One Cloud 9. Oh, I was shortchanging him. 664,000 subscribers on the main channel. That's a little bit insane. 19 years old, pretty successful content creator. Shouldn't even say pretty. I feel like pretty is just a belittling of what he is. Started 3 years ago, blew up in the space. Started 3 years ago, got bangers in the first year. Wow. And so there's if you've watched the last video, there's been a theme of content creators being exposed by people that they hire, as far as editors, thumbnail makers, cameramen, all this other stuff like that. And I want to watch this video from ex-editor talking about this. I too have hired Alex to do work for me. I have employed Alex, the editor / storyteller, to do work for me. I'm not here to give criticism on how he worked with me. From that perspective, I'm not a part of that mudslinging conversation. There's going to be a part of this conversation that gets personal. I'm not necessarily there for that either. Maybe some life advice from an older person, unsolicited, of course, but I'm not here to really barge into those things. I'm here to consume the beef and comment on it. Now, shouts out to Astral Dior. Omizi scammed me as well. This is crazy. I want to go ahead and say, I don't want to waste time. Omar, are you making a vid summarizing? I did make a video already. The video actually went out maybe an hour ago. So watch the video. I talk about that. But this one was special. I did want to get into this. I don't want to beat around the bush because I know this is one of those whose side are you on type situations. Off top, One Cloud 9 is more right in this situation than is wrong. I just want to go ahead and say that. And I think Alex, his friend or ex-friend, I don't want to use the word wrong, but if we have to be lay speaking on the internet, is more wrong in this situation. He just is. And so I want to break that down from my POV, especially as somebody who's worked for creators in the past, and tooting my own horn, is a pioneer in this space as far as having these conversations about pay and wages and pushing for things. If you know me from my past, I used to host spaces, seminars, put out text about pay in this space, proper procedures in this space, standards, and all these other things like that. So, yeah, man, let's go ahead and get into the video. I don't want to beat around the bush anymore. This is Alex's video.
So recently, I've been seeing a lot of news online about a bunch of different content creators and streamers just not being terrible people. One of the most notable ones that just came out is that guy named Jordan Cisco, who got mad because he spilled water on his PC, so he punched up his wife.
Take these off. Take the lids off.
Yeah, this was crazy. I'm going to skip past that real quick.
A lot of people are surprised at stuff like this, but I would like to share a personal story as a cautionary tale.
Me, and again, overly criticizing because that's what the reactors do. I personally would have not tied in a situation in which One Cloud 9 did not pay you to one of DV. I just wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it. A little bit tasteless. Serious situation. Wouldn't have tied it into this. Yeah, I wouldn't have did that, gang. I would have just made the video. Using that as the catalyst for the conversation is bad, objectively speaking.
Let you know that you can't trust the creator just because they have a nice smile, just because they come across on camera.
And don't get me wrong, I understand the tie because I know somebody's gonna. I gotta cover my bases because the internet is like this policing a verbiage conversation without understanding nuance and context and all these other things. If it's not said explicitly, I totally understand this premise as to how he's trying to tie these things together. I just wouldn't have used a case of DV to get it off.
Let you know that you can't trust the creator just because they have a nice smile, just because they come across on camera is good. That doesn't necessarily make them good. And I'd like to share a story of my own personal experience with this as a cautionary tale and to spread awareness, because the last thing I want is for somebody to get scammed or taken advantage the same way that I did. With that, let's get on with the story. The creator I'm talking about, because listen, I just straight up say names too, I don't give a fuck. The creator I am talking about that I have this experience with, by the way, his name is OneCloud9. He is a creator with I think like 650,000 subscribers on one of his channels, almost 200,000 I think on another channel. He's a very talented creator who's done a lot of amazing work, right? And I, from the dates of November 2024 all the way till, funny enough, around this time, around March 2025, was the main editor for his OneCloud9 channel, where he talks about commentary.
Just to put it in perspective, late November to late March. So November to December, December to January, January to February, February to March. About a 4-month span.
Story times and all
Context.
that good jazz or whatever, right? He liked my work. We instantly got to work. And one thing about me that a lot of people don't know is that I'm an extremely fast editor. So in this era that I'm talking about, from November 2024 all the way to March 2025, around, I want to say 65 to 75% of the videos that was uploaded to that channel were edited by me. Like, to put it in perspective of how quick I was, in the month of December 2024, whenever OneCloud9 was one of the only commentary channels that was uploading every single day quality 8 to 15 minute videos every single day, I edited around like 70 to 80% of those
8 to 15 minute videos.
videos
He's got to get
every
those
single
numbers
day.
up.
And he got a lot of views
Rookie.
from it. It was a
Let me
nice
stop.
period.
Let
And,
me
stop. Most people look at Cloud and they go, he's a pretty chill dude. He is a nice chill dude. But to add some further context, I have to establish the type of person Cloud is so you can understand how we even got to the point where I almost got taken advantage of and scammed. Well, I did get taken advantage of and scammed, but I turned it around. Me and Cloud, even
The thing that I don't like about internet discourse, and this one is not necessarily about him in general, but just the way that people do these videos. And when I'm as a younger person, I'm fine with it because hey, I'm drama monster, drama king. And for what it's worth, still drama monster, still drama king. Love me some drama, chat. I just do. But the problem here is that, is my mic loud as fuck? Am I tripping? Hold on. Is my mic loud, y'all? Where's the sound settings? Oh my god. I feel like my mic is loud. Yeah, why this shit at 100? Okay, it's at 51. Let's bring it down to about 42. All right, 41. Okay, cool. I don't know. Oh, they said I'm good. Okay. The thing about this is that when people paint this, when people do when people paint characters about people, when I'm young, it's cool because I'm drama monster. He said he was a narcissist. Oh my God, fucking awful. But I do think in these situations, now that I am more mature, I realize that like most of these things are interpretations. I see Cameron's in the chat. Shouts out to Cameron. Shouts out to Astro Dior.
Oh my God, my boy say he's in the Aston doing donuts.
Cook monsters. If me, Cameron, and Astro Dior are in a situation in which, I were at a restaurant and the waiter asked for me what I want to drink, and I say water, and I want 2 of them. Cameron might say like, yo, Omar was like mad aggressive with the way that he asked for the water. Dior might say, he asked for 2 waters. I don't really understand what's going on here. And I might not think of it as a big deal. I'm getting to the point that there's different interpretations of these acts. And without the proper amount of context provided, and I don't even think it's one of those situations where both parties involved can truly give the proper context, because all these situations are so devoid of the reality of the context. There's no real way to make a judgment call. Now, if we're gonna be messy boots, we're gonna be messy boots. I can do that. But there are certain points in this where he tries to do this painting of a personality of one cloud. And I don't necessarily get involved because this is like, it's your interpretation of the situation. That's fine. I'm not gonna be that person that's like, well, you got your feelings hurt, but that wasn't mean. If you felt like it was mean and you got your feelings hurt, then that is what it is. But at the same time, this shouldn't add too much to the story. Like, it doesn't do much for the story.
We edited a lot together, and we made some amazing projects together. We were friends as well behind the scenes. A lot of editors and creators, they don't really have a close relationship with each other because it's like a job, just like a lot of rap.
I would a little bit disagree with this, but that's fine. Nowadays, people are starting to find editors via the internet. But like I said in my video, a lot of the people that people start with are truly friends of the family, cousins, brothers, sisters, nephews, homeboys, all these different things like that do these projects together. Again, irrelevant to the story, but
Rappers, they're not very tight knit with the people that make the beats and stuff like that. It's kind of like a very transactional relationship where you just get what you need and then y'all don't talk to each other. But since me and Cloud are the same age, we're both Black successful creators, we were cool because it's not really easy in everyday life to find people that relate to what we do. So me and Cloud were really good friends. We used to talk all the time. One thing he would hit me up a lot for was like creative consultations. Like, he would hit me up a lot and I'll put some screenshots on the screen or whatever, and he would basically ask me like, how does this title sound? How does this TikTok sound? How does this thumbnail look like? What should we critique to edit it? These are normally things that you would pay somebody for, kind of like a creative director slash like consultant or something like that. This is something that normally you would pay somebody for, but I would just do it out of the kindness of my heart. One, because I'm a naturally helping guy, and two, we were friends, and I don't really charge my friends for like stuff like that. Like,
irrelevant to bring it up in the point of the conversation. The only reason why this is brought up is because the picture is trying to be painted that he was juiced for his creativity in this situation. This happened, right? He did ask his friend for a title and a thumbnail. But again, only because they're in the chat, I'm going to use Astro Dior and Cameron. I'll use Cameron. And I can say this, it's not like the craziest thing in the world. Cameron called me the other day asking for some advice on a situation in regards to his channel. No way would I think to hit him with an invoice. And if I had an issue with Cameron later on, this wouldn't even be something that is thought about. This wouldn't be something that is thought about. He's right that you do pay people for these services, but if again, only because you're tasked with doing it in this type of reaction, I think it's very telling when somebody gets mad at somebody, the things that they choose to bring up and the things that they choose to omit. And we've talked about this on Let's Keep It a Buck before. If I get into an argument with Damo, if I get into an argument with my friend who is bigger, and I get off remarks about them being bigger, low key, you've always felt some way about him being bigger. You do. So I think that it is, again, a bit strange to bring this up in this conversation. But again, I'm just trying to stall. I'm farming watch time at this point. Let's play this out.
You're my friend and I don't mind helping, right? But you would do this a lot because I'm very well versed on psychology, people, and just the overall YouTube algorithm. You know what I mean? So one conversation from me helping him out with like a video title, thumbnail, whatever, would turn into us just talking about life. And like I said, we became very close and we were really, really good friends, like brothers, almost like this. But the more I started to hang around Cloud, the more his true character started to reveal itself. Like, Cloud is one of those people, he's really big on like external validation. conversation. You know what I mean? So what he would do is whenever, like I said, behind the scenes, when it's just me and him talking, chopping it up, we chilling together, we on the phone, whatever, like we tight like this, we like brothers, it's cool. But it's like whenever we got in front of certain people, it's like every man for themselves, because all he cares about is his image and being like externally validated. And I started to notice him, you know, becoming more of this the more comfortable he got around me, because it's like the best way I can put it, you know, I'm not saying that I'm the, you know, most like person that everybody wants to hate on, but you know, I'm a handsome guy, I'm very talented, and like I said, he asked me for a lot of advice because I was so well versed despite me being the smaller creator. So it's almost like because Cloud sometimes saw that, you know, I was the better editor, I had a better personality, I just so happened to start later than him and just haven't got blessed by the algorithm the same way he has been yet. It was kind of,
I promise you, I want to ignore that entire segment and section. I did watch a couple of people's reactions, and I do think that that is a tell about who he is. I think that that entire section is a little bit of a tell about his personality. But again, that's not why I'm necessarily here. I'm going to try my hardest to avoid that for the remainder of the video, but I'm not going to make any assessments and judgments. Comment section on his video was filled with it. Comment section on Cloud's video, Berto's, Dior's, you know, comments right now talking about this. These people have probably never seen what's being said, and they're saying these things. So again, I would be cognizant. I'm a person who's always reflexive of the words that I say. So if I was Alex, I would watch this back and see how, you know, that may be perceived. That was an insane little stretch there. It was.
like he envied me a little bit. And you know,
Again, this is an insane section. And I'm not them personally. I was not there through all of it. I feel like he envied me a little bit. That's a big statement. That's a big statement. Huge statement.
editor, I had a better personality. I just so happened to start later than him and just having.
Oh, that's what I wanted to address. That algorithm thing. Sorry, because now this is YouTube. The algorithm hasn't blessed me in the way that it has blessed him. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Yeah, that's not true. That's not what's going on in this situation. Now granted, he is a newer creator. Based off of what's being portrayed here, it's a 6-month content creation journey where it seems as though he's taking it seriously. But I've consumed his videos and his shorts before when he was working, when he wasn't, but I don't know if I would just chalk it up to the algorithm hasn't blessed me. Shouts out to JKP for $10 says, yo, Omeezy, how's your day been? I'm a little late. Could you explain what I missed? We're talking about a creator using the words scammed. An editor for a creator, OneCloud9, said that he got scammed. And I just want to break down the specific video. I kind of glossed over it in the video that I made. So that's for $2. That guy for real says, what's up, old man? When's the dinkscussion? Stop. Do not bring that over here. That nonsense from Let's Keep It a Buck. Yeah, I wouldn't invalidate, because if you only, I'll say this to Alex, and we could probably look up OneCloud9 on Playboard to really figure this out. But OneCloud9 had been creating content for 3 years. And I'm just talking about from this perspective. Saying that the algorithm hadn't blessed you the way that it had blessed him, or whatever the case may be, and taking away, because it was only 4 months worth of work up until that point, taking away the other year's worth of work that he had been putting in order to grow a channel, while simultaneously talking about his characteristics, his traits, his flaws, all these different things like that. Again, I would just take a step back and be reflexive over the words that have just been said. Right? I would just take a step back and look at that. Cause it's just a leap. That is a leap of leaps right there. So yeah. Dang, how do I see this nigga? Okay. Playboard ain't gonna let me do it. Playboard is not gonna let me do it. Well, we can see it right here. This is Playboard for OneCloud9 in the year of 2024, and by golly, maybe this is true, maybe this isn't. We might have to go back and fact check that. Claims that OneCloud had 47 million views. He came in towards the end of the year. I don't know if I would have made that jump in that conclusion. I don't want to push this any further because y'all get the point. Y'all get the point, but let's keep going.
Got blessed by the algorithm the same way he has been yet. It was kind of like he envied me a little bit. And you know, Cloud's whole perspective and like his confidence is built upon being a young, successful black man as he is, that is more successful than a lot of people. You know what I mean? So like anytime somebody's perceived to have more than him, even if it's not in success or money, he kind of like finds a way to subtly devalue. He's that type of person. We all know dudes like that, you know? And originally I was like, it may not be that deep because like, you know, that's just how people be. We all got homies who like got big egos. It is what it is. But I just noticed the more as time went on, he would do weird things. Like for instance, here's where like I first should have realized that like, you know, I should have had a contract because mind you know, we did all of this work despite making so much money and gaining so much views off of it and all of these videos doing so well. I was doing all this under the table, you know. He didn't give me a contract to sign or nothing like that. So to be paid, there wasn't a
To say that this is under the table work, I wouldn't agree with the sentiment. You don't need a contract to be an editor or any sort of formal paperwork, especially in this space. For what it's worth, YouTube is still the Wild West. It's still very much heavily relying on freelance opportunities. There's not a lot of paperwork that goes into YouTube. There's just not. I would want to know from the chat, what percentage of YouTubers and content creators across the board do you think do paperwork? What percentage of content creators do you think put their staff on some sort of paperwork? I would want to know. Because that's not, I wouldn't say that was, you know, under the table work. Let's keep going though. I am going to talk about where it probably went wrong here in a second though.
System for me to be paid. So like I would go to ask him to be paid and the type of thing Cloud would do. And by the way, this isn't just my own personal experience. I've talked with other people and they've said that the same thing has happened to them as well before. Like you'll ask him to be paid and then he'll just ignore you for like 12 hours or like a day. Mind you, people that work for Cloud, since he's a business, people like have to pay their bills and like rent and all these other things because this is their job. And Cloud will purposely like drag his feet to not pay people because it's like an ego thing. Like just because he knows he can and he feels good knowing that people asking him for money, you know what I mean? And
more jumps, is it more jumps, more character claims, more attempts at this person's character? I do want to say though, I don't know if I would categorize, and maybe this is just because I've worked in a lot of different fields, jobs, industries, you know, a bunch of different things, but I've definitely been in a situation where I've been late delivered on pay. That's happened to me. That's happened to you guys watching this. That's happened to truly everybody. I would not say that a 12-hour period or a 24-hour period is what I would consider to be a delay on pay. I really wouldn't. Now, if we do want to talk about spelling, we can talk about spelling because the fact that OneCloud put P-A-Y-E-D is crazy. That's insane. I don't know why he did that. And this is the time where you can edit text messages. He probably should have went back and edited that text message. But at the end of the day, he paid him. Right? And so, you know, just taking for what we have here, I don't know the exact payday or anything like that. Yo, can I get paid today? at February 2nd, 2025, mid-afternoon. He doesn't get a response until 3:05 a.m. February 3rd, right? And then he actually receives payment at on February 4th, at 2 a.m. Again, I don't know the details in this. I would not say that this is the pattern of behavior of somebody trying to get their rocks off, because they get some sort of sick kick. They get some sort of sick kick about being paid and all these other things like that. I don't think so. I think that's just a conclusion jump. Especially if not explicitly told, payment structures are totally different. In the freelance space, a lot of it is based off of invoices. Invoices don't have to be paid for an extended period of time of 30 days, upwards to 90 days post completion of work. I don't know if people know that there's structures in which people do the work. Like when I do a brand deal is technically me being a freelancer and getting paid in the same way on a contract like he would be getting paid. If you see me do a brand deal back in January, I'm probably just now receiving that payment. Matter of fact, this week, remember when I did the belt brand deal? I just received that payment for that ad this week. I've done other contracted gigs and I haven't received payment for 30 days. The way that we I wish that we were always in a system where there was like a guaranteed, hey, it's Friday, I'm going to get paid every single Friday. That's what W-2 jobs are for. This is not the environment where pay is truly on some sort of structured scale, right? I wish content creators did do that, but at the end of the day, that's not the environment. The space doesn't really call for that or revolve around that. It does work both ways, where there can be some benefits to not doing this as opposed to doing this. Specifically for my employees, in the past, if they've asked for an advance on payment, I don't have any problem with that. As long as I got it in my bank account, I'll dish it out. And so, you can't do that with a regular job. All in all, pay is such a complicated conversation in this space. I want people to know two things from this specific point. One, it's not a linear thing like your 9-to-5 job. It's not a situation where you're going to get paid direct deposit by the creator for, I would say, 95% of YouTube. And then two, I don't know if being a day or two late on pay is this concept of like, oh, he gets his rocks off by these things. Maybe TSA workers feel the same way. He gets his rocks off. Trump gets his rocks off by not paying TSA workers. I never thought that my employer was getting their rocks off because I had to come and ask them for money. That's an interesting framing of that. Mm-hmm.
People that work for Cloud, since he's a business, people like have to pay their bills and like rent and all these other things because this is their job.
And that's fair. I think that's fair.
Drag his feet to not pay people because it's like an ego thing. Like just because he knows he can and he feels good knowing that people asking him for money. You know what I mean? And he'll either ignore you or be like.
What's interesting though is like he's saying that, and I'm gonna keep playing it. He's saying that, but at the end of the day, whether he paid it on time or not, you would still be asking for the money. So like, I don't understand how those two things go hand in hand.
I got you. Or he'll be like, I got to get the money situated. But you'll see him like go live on Twitch and just start like laughing, frolicking. Or you'll see him like on Instagram just chilling or playing the game. But he won't pay you until he feels he's ready to pay you. And the reason why, to me, I felt like this was so like weird personally is because Cloud would drag his feet sometimes to pay me and other editors, but he would brag to me on the phone and go, you know, I'm gonna be honest, he's like, ever since 2022 or 2023 when I first blew up and I made so much money, he was like, I feel uncomfortable if I don't have at least 100,000 in my bank account.
And I feel him. I feel him. No glaze. No, I don't know what he's talking about there. No comment on that. I just wanted to pop in right there. I just wanted to pop in.
I'm like, the dude who's like bragging about he feels uncomfortable of not having at least 100,000 in his bank account is like dragging his feet or making it seem like there's a logistics problem to getting me paid my $300 to $400, and this is under the table anyway, so you're not even paying me. Like sometimes when people pay you for freelance work, they have to send it through their LLC bank account and stuff like that because it's a write-off. But I'm like, this is a under the table payment. So it's like, to my knowledge, I don't even think he was factoring, like he wasn't even trying to pay me from his LLC. He would just Apple Pay it or Cash App it to me.
The relevance of that is also is unimportant. The relevance of that is unimportant. I don't even think that, and this is where I'm gonna have to sit up for a second and really be an adult here. But this is where Alex is trying to build up a legitimate case when it honestly falls flat. What bank account he pays it out doesn't make it you know, first of all, let's be clear. Let me be clear on something. Hold on, I got a text message. It's not from either of them. It's not from either of them. Oh, well, he's, you know, you're not, I'm richer when you're right. First and foremost, him getting paid, let me move this. Him getting paid via Cash App or via Apple Pay does not mean that it's not from his LLC or his business bank account. What Alex is referring to is, you know, when you start a business and you start to make money from the business, financial advisors say, tax professionals say, people say, yo, separate the two. Separate your business transactions from your personal transactions. Why? Because at the end of the year, it makes it cleaner for bookkeeping. But at the end of the day, that does not mean that you have to do that. And for what it's worth, I know too many people that keep both blended. Now, is that a knock on maybe their professionalism and their business acumen? Perhaps, but not from one that is impactful on the freelancers, right? Where the freelancers get paid from, they don't care. It doesn't matter. You don't know if this was money I got from the strip club, money I got from panhandling, or money that I got from YouTube. None of that is relevant, right? I wonder how he knows explicitly that this didn't come from his LLC. It sounds as though, well, I would assume, it sounds like he knows that OneCloud has an LLC, but doesn't understand that there is maybe that there's a business bank, because that's what he's meaning to say in this conversation, is that it seems as though OneCloud didn't pay me from his business account. But at the end of the day, as I'm doing my taxes right now, the tax professional is going to make me feel bad about my bookkeeping throughout the year, but it doesn't fucking matter. And I'm not cussing because I'm mad at him in this regard. This is more of a teaching lesson. I'm going to tell my tax professional, hey, my nigga, I did swipe for some things on my personal card that can be write-offs. I'm going to hand you my books. You sort through this, email me back with questions. I'll answer those questions, but sort it out. This out of all of the points that I talked about in the beginning of this video, this is the most irrelevant point out of all of them. This does not mean that it's under the table. Under the table, and we're using this terminology wrong. Under the table means that this is a cash transaction, generally one that is made to avoid taxation from the government, you know, IRS eyes watching. So what you would do is, because I've done this before, because my mother has done this before, because plenty of people that I know have done this before, is, hey, they take a job, right? You pay them in cash. Therefore, when they go to file their W-2s and do their taxes throughout the year, they don't have to report to the IRS that, hey, I made, especially with the new rule, $600+ that I can be liable for taxes. That's what under the table means. Alex, and again, maybe it's a slip in the terminology. If he paid you $450 from his bank account to your bank account, And well, I'll say this. He said he was $200 a video and he did it for about 4 months. He did a shit ton of videos. You got paid plus $600 from one Cloud9's bank account to your bank account. The IRS knows about all of it. It is not under the table. It is not under the table. And for what it's worth, even if it was under the table, let's say that it was under the table by the definition that is laid out by me and understood by a lot of other people. I'll Google this right after this because I don't want nobody saying, well, under the table has multiple different meanings. No, terminologies have meanings. Let's say it was under the table. Him paying you under the table is a benefit of you. I'm not gonna lie, gang. If somebody paid me under the table for work that I did in excess of a couple $1,000s, that would be a benefit for me. They could be late until Jesus comes.
They could be late as fuck. And I wouldn't care.
You know why? Because the $2, $3, $4, $5,000 that Cameron gives me that is under the table is not taxed, as opposed to the $2, $3, and $5,000 that Cameron could give me being taxed would take my $2, $3, and $5,000 down about 30%, and or shift me into a different tax bracket that may make it even higher. Does that make sense? Again, these are two kids that are having a little bit of a dispute right now. I want to introduce a little bit of, a Delta 2. That's what they should have did. I ain't gonna lie. Any creator that has this type of beef going forward, don't do what any of them did. I see Berto's in the chat. Shouts out to Berto. Shouts out to any creator that's pulling up. Next time y'all have this situation, don't do it the way that these niggas is doing it. Y'all come to my stream and we'll talk about it. We'll hash it out. I ain't gonna lie. Shouts out to JKP for $5.
He's on fire.
So you're telling me when you picked Raisin Bran, you was being dink ass? Stop. Like, no troll. You're an old unk. Yeah. Raisin Bran Crunch is a good source of fiber, gang. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, let me go and let me look up what under the table just means, and then we'll continue on with the video. Because that's just wrong. And again, all this is an attempt to like defame somebody. Keep it where we're keeping it. Under the table refers to the secret, illicit, or hidden actions often involving cash or legal cash payments to avoid taxes or bribes. To avoid taxes or bribes, right? It can also mean becoming incapacitated, from drinking too much. I'm sorry. Incapacitated from drinking too much, i.e. somebody drunk somebody under the table. All these things are meant to, again, avoid taxation. Covert, under the table. You going from one bank account to the next bank account, there's nothing under the table about this. If it was, it would be in favor of you. I just want to put that out there.
You know what I mean? So that's the first instance is under the table payment. So it's like, to my knowledge, I don't even think he was factoring, like he wasn't even trying to pay me from his LLC. He would just Apple Pay it or Cash App it to me. You know what I mean?
No.
So that's the first instance where in my head, I should have known something was off. That's on me for not realizing that, this person is.
Oh, my bad, because I didn't play this. This is going to be real quick. I'm not going to take too much. I don't think that that's a red flag inherently. One, because we have to remember what's going on here. I talked to One Cloud the last time we did the video. He's 19 years old. He's like 19 years old. He was 18 during this time based off of what's going on. I don't know his birthday. It's probably on celebrity birthdays. We can find it out. But he's probably like 18 years old. Gang, I was blessed and privileged and had the resources to have a bank account at 15 or maybe 13 even. Shout out to Regions Bank. They let you get a little student account at the age of 13. My mom put some money in there. Most people don't have bank accounts. Most people don't do the right things. Like I said earlier, I know so many creators that don't have LLCs set up. I work with a ton of creators right now. They don't have LLCs set up. They don't have business accounts set up. They don't have tax professionals. They legitimately. So there's too many content creators that I know that go to turbotax.com with the tax documentation that they get from YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. They upload it to TurboTax, they hit submit, and then they pay from their personal bank account their taxes that they're owed. And they don't know any better, gang. I wouldn't say that this is a red flag. I would say that it's pretty industry standard. Now, if you mean red flag from the sense that, I do professional things and this is a little bit shady, that's fine. At that point, I probably wouldn't have even taken a job here. I wouldn't have even taken a job here. But this is just understanding the climate. Again, this is a portion where I'm definitely not mad. I just wouldn't say that because this is a space that doesn't deal with traditional W-2, type of ordeals when it comes to payment and stuff like that, and taxation and stuff like that.
Clearly trying to like hold his nuts over me, right? Or keep a power dynamic that always keeps him on top. Because mind you, as an editor, I never saw myself as just like somebody's editor, because if you've ever watched my channel, if you've ever seen my editing, I feel like editing is its own form of art, just as the creator is. Like, I see myself as Pharrell to a rap artist. I don't see myself as just another person editing, because I add a certain personality. I'm so quick with how I edit. Like, for instance, all those videos that you've seen that I've edited on this channel, almost all of them I've edited in 4 hours or less, because I just found a way to edit quick for me, and I also add that flair and keep that quality onto it. So
This is where I'm also going to have to give him a little bit of pushback. The music analogy while being something to talk about, while being something that is an okay thing, we have to understand that this is not that space. This is not that space. And for what it's worth, the music industry has only recently become what he's referencing, where producers have personalities, producers are seen as solo entities. I can even name when it happened in hip hop and rap because I was alive for it. It specifically started out with producer Lex Luger, where producers were seen as bigger than rappers. Lex Luger was the first one. Not even Pharrell, who debuted earlier than him. Pharrell had some other things going on that made him seem more relevant in the space. He was bigger than just a producer. He was also a songwriter and an artist in his own regard. And not saying that Alex is not. He does have a YouTube channel. He does create videos and content himself. But with that being said, this is not the rap space. And it's okay that you see yourself that way. But in having conversations of, how should I say, and having conversations when it comes to being a business professional in the YouTube space, we're not there yet. There's only 2 editors that I know. Three. Then he only started. There's only 3 editors that I really, really know that got some like clout and praise. 2 of them started making content about the editing, and then one of them featured in it. I know that Logan Paul's editor got that type of recognition. I know that the Sidemen's producer, behind the scenes guy, got that recognition, and then Chris from AMP got that recognition from his editing. He would also feature little things that would allude to him being the one to edit the video in there. All in all, I hate to be that guy because it lightweight undermines the position. But especially when we're talking about value when it comes to content creation, because of where we are in the space and all these other things like that, you were an editor that had a job. And that's how this should have been approached.
I see myself as an equal. I never see myself, and anybody else that works with people, always see yourself as an equal. Do not let nobody make you feel like they're above you, because the moment you put them above you, you're gonna stay there. But yeah, this was like one of the first instances where it really started to like shine. But there was another instance that happened in this story that created more tension, that led to me being taken advantage of / scam. So basically, like I said, me and Cloud were friends, right? And it was right after DreamCon. So this would be,
I wonder what that means. I'm sorry, because we'll get into the scam, but I do wonder what that means from like an actual perspective. Like, does Kai Cenat's editor think that he's equal with Kai Cenat? Does CB, Kai Cenat's, or Kensei is Kai Cenat's editor, does CB, Kai Cenat's cameraman, think he is equal to Kai Cenat? And then I wonder if he only thinks that exists in the realm of, the creative space or the freelance space. I do wonder if he only believes that exists. If you, somebody said it in the chat, Jeremy Dade says, about to go let my boss know we equals. I wonder how that will work. I wonder how that will work. So yeah, that's interesting. Let's get into the details.
I want to say July, right? Somewhere around July. Like I said, me and Cloud were friends. So he invited me to go on a vacation with him and some of his friends to Panama City Beach, Florida, right? And I accepted because, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I was really cool with Cloud. So I flew out, we went to PCB. And when we got there, one of Cloud's friends, these girls that he invited that I didn't know like that, one of them was extremely rude and nasty to me because I didn't want to pay for her groceries that she was trying to eat. I was like, nah, I got my own budget. Mind you, at the time, I only had like $300, $400. And even if I had more money, I'm not spending money on girls that aren't mine. So I'm just not spending money on people and paying for people's things that I'm not gonna eat. Like I could see if I was gonna be eating the groceries, but like the girl was mad at me because I didn't pay for house groceries that were for her. But to make a long story short, the woman started being very rude and nasty to me. And it's like every time I would walk in the room, since I was the only person that didn't know any of them besides Cloud, the whole house would get awkward and quiet, right? And mind you, this
Again, this is the portion of the video where there is some this is some young nigga shit that they going through right now. Canon events, don't know what happened. But this is one of those situations where it's like you had to be there in order to get an understanding of what was going on. So I kind of am sitting outside. I'm gonna give a little bit of comments as a storyteller or a story listener too, and somebody who's giving their opinion, but it's take it with a grain of salt, ultimately because I'm not there. What was I gonna say? Because ultimately, like how Cloud interpreted the situation, how the woman in question interpreted the situation, the people in the house interpreted the situation, Alex interpreted the situation, all could be totally different. But what I will say is I absolutely love it when people tell a story about a situation that happened and use these generalizing words as opposed to giving examples of what happened. I'm gonna humor you. Alex, you said that the woman was nasty and rude to you. Can we have an example? Can we have an example? If you could just detail what the rude and nasty things are, I would agree to you. I would agree with you. I would be able to hear you more. Again, if we had that example, it would be great for the conversation.
night I was gonna have to sleep on the couch, and I was like, bro, I'm not trying to sleep on the couch out in the open when there's this girl that all of a sudden just hates me, is walking around at night potentially just because I didn't want to pay for her groceries. Like, if you're getting mad at me because of that, there's something wrong up here. So I definitely don't want you to be able to just walk past me while I'm sleeping out in the open. So right,
I don't understand this. Does he believe that this young woman is going to harm him in some way, shape, form, or fashion? That's an interesting concept. She's mad at you for not paying for the groceries. I'll even follow him up with the whole thing. She's on a trip to Panama City Beach. She tried to finesse you out of grocery money because you're new. And so she asked you. You said no, she gets mad. And now she's like, ooh, I hate this nigga. Blah, cool. How you go from that to she'll potentially hurt me while I'm sleeping that's a jump. I think that's a jump.
because I didn't want to pay for her groceries. Like, if you're getting mad at me because of that, there's something wrong up here. So I definitely don't want you to be able to just walk past me while I'm sleeping out in the open. So rightfully so, you know, I kept voicing that problem because the way I look at it is, if I bring my friend that doesn't know any of my other friends or even family around somebody that's making them feel uncomfortable unjustly, I'm going to check them. I'm going to be like, yo, chill, you wrong. Like, he didn't do nothing to you. Like, chill out. You know what I mean? I can stand up for myself for sure. But whenever one person is shaping the whole energy of the house, it's like, why am I even here at that point? I don't know none of y'all. We're supposed to be on vacation having a good time, and you're making me feel like I'm a problem. That's not fair to me, especially when I want to do that to you. And you know, eventually this turned into, you know what I'm saying, me having to leave, and that created a lot of tension between me and Cloud because I had to leave. And you know, I just really didn't appreciate, especially like him as a friend, not sticking up for me and like checking his friends, or like, you know what I mean, setting the tone. But again, like I said, Cloud is so big on external validation. He cares about about optics, the image, about making it seem like everything is okay, even if everything isn't okay. So
I'll say this to this specific point, something that we've known to happen, and I've had time to reflect on this before. Something irrelevant. I agree, JKP. In this specific situation, I think that because I watched OneCloud's response video as well. I do think it's interesting that he did not bring up the fact that he had to get his ticket paid for to go home. If he's telling the entire scope of the story, because he did go home in this story, but OneCloud had to pay for the ticket. It wouldn't hold too much relevance, but he's trying to paint this person to be a bad guy, right? So with that being said, it's interesting that he did not bring that up. That's one. Two, although they are young, they are still adults and they're people. These are peers, like-minded individuals, all these other things like that of the same age group. Conflict resolution is a skill, ladies and gentlemen. And for what it's worth, I don't think that, and this is me and my personal belief. I now understand that other people don't believe or believe a little bit differently. If you have an issue with an adult and you are an adult, I expect you to be able to resolve said issue. It does not sound like from the outside looking in that this is that deep of an issue. It does not sound, again, there's so much lack of detail in this situation. And I find it interesting because Alex seems to be a very detailed guy. He has given screenshots and other photo evidence and a bunch of other situations that he's retelling from this situation as a whole with OneCloud. But in this one, this was a very vague, I went to PCB, had this incident with this woman. The whole house turned on me. They were rude and nasty. I had to leave. And that was the start of the downfall. So many missing details for somebody to really come to a true conclusion about this. I don't even know what you do with this piece of information. But I will say, if I have a friend from one friend group and then I have a friend from another friend group and they have issues, gang, we're adults. Solve the issue. Now, if it is way beyond, if it's way beyond a certain level, I may get into what's going on. But if you didn't put the toilet seat down and you peed on the toilet seat and I need to come in there and wipe the toilet seat up, we don't need to get Omar involved in order to resolve that conflict. Gang, put the toilet seat down. Okay, I'll put the toilet seat down. That should be where it ends. Now, again, it would help if there was a bunch of detail to say like, well, this, that, and the third and the fourth. She said this, she said that. Maybe. But until we get that information, I don't know. I don't know. Let's continue on.
Instead of, protecting his friend and standing up for me, he rather chose like the external validation of not saying anything at all. That just comes partially with not having a backbone, but also, like I said, whenever a person is driven by external validation, this is the type of things that they do. So that's what created a tension between me and Cloud, and we didn't talk for, I want to say 2-3 months, because this happened around July, right? But then if you see in the text message right here, Cloud hit me up a couple days before my birthday. My birthday is on September the 14th, so this was 3 days before my birthday, and he said, yo, putting all differences aside, I'm going to start posting a lot more often again.
9/11
first before anything, but if you want to work again with me, I'm laying the offer on the table. Hope you've been well, right? And we ended up talking about it, and why he fully again didn't understand why I left, even though it should be obvious to anybody with a little bit of self-respect and love why I left, he still wanted to be cool because, he wanted my gift. I edit very fast. I add that authenticity and that you in the tube to the editing that gives it that extra boost, right? So he wanted to work with me again because obviously who wouldn't want to work with me, right? But this time that we worked together, because Cloud had to pay me a certain amount of money last time because he locked me in at a rate. And like I said, he didn't expect me to be editing so fast. I edited so many videos so quick that Cloud had to pay me a decent amount of money. It wasn't wasn't that much. But like I said, a lot of YouTubers see themselves like this and the editors like this, so they underpay them and they overwork them. But he couldn't do that with me because the value that I clearly brought, he couldn't underpay me. So like last time, he didn't want to have to pay me for so much. He said this time we're gonna have a contract to make sure, you know, we got a set price, right? But the thing is, Cloud's videos are like all over the place. So sometimes he'll have like a video where like one will be very easy to edit, and then the next one he'll shoot it in a way where a video that should take, like I said, for me 4 hours, it'll take me the time it takes to edit 2 videos for that one video because of the way he shot it without even thinking about how everybody that has to make this video come forward to make it, right? So in
Okay, and now I'm about to really break down some fourth wall. I don't know. I would ask him, and again, let me say this, because I did see him make a response to Birdo's video, and he's including people that have done reactions and all these different things. You know, I don't have any problem with him. Ultimately, this is like young nigga shit, and so they're just they're delving into the young nigga shit. But I'll say this, Alex, if you are gonna make a response video based off of, you know, me responding and all that other stuff, skip it. Text me, because you do have my number. We'll go live, because there's questions that I want you to answer, and I want us to be able to have a actual conversation, one in which I could potentially help you going forward. Because I do think the next time that you did work with a creator, I think it was me, which would be after, the way you went about it was very professional, and I can applaud that. And the only thing that I would say is that coming into this space, again, this is such a lack of professionalism. It is what it is. Look at DH. Uncle, I just spoke to him. He said he down. Okay, you didn't, but okay. Yeah, I would, hop on. I would hop on the stream. So, in this situation here, as a creator, granted, I understand what you're saying. It should be some sort of symbiotic relationship where I'm taking into consideration you and you're taking into consideration me and all these different things. What I will say though is, if that doesn't mean that you talk to him, DH. If he's down, I'm live right now. I have no problem doing it. If he wants to do it later, that's fine too. I mean, he also has my number, so it doesn't necessarily have to go through you. What's it called? What was I gonna say? Oh, I don't know if those things to be said. I had an issue with the video that I recorded today, and I think that this may be the situation that you want to do. I started the video about the creators being menaces to work with, and I got about 40 minutes into that video, and while I was recording, I said, this ain't it. Only about 15 to 20 minutes of this video is it. I stopped the recording, uploaded that footage, started another recording that was also about 40 minutes, and said, you know what? This is it. So we got 2 files, 40 minutes, handed it off to an editor, and, explained to him the situation. I promise you, gang, it wasn't an intentional, yeah, I'm about to make my guy Ankle. And shouts out to my guy Ankle, man.
This is a sick Negro.
Ankle, man. Ankle's a demon on the keys. Ankle, we ain't never gonna go through this, gang. I promise you. And you know that. What's that called? Yo, stop it. I didn't shoot that with the intention of Ankle having a hard time to shoot it. That doesn't benefit me. It doesn't benefit me if he has to struggle to edit a video. It doesn't benefit him if he has to struggle to edit a video. Right? So I don't know. I wouldn't make this assumption. This is another assumption that I wouldn't make, and the way that it's being painted is like a conclusion jump. If you have concrete evidence that says he made this in a way to make you struggle, then fine, but that's a jump.
to make sure, you know, we got a set price, right? But the thing is, Cloud's videos are like all over the place. So sometimes he'll have like a video where like one will be very easy to edit, and then the next one he'll shoot it in a way where a video that should take, like I said, for me 4 hours, it'll take me the time it takes to edit 2 videos for that one video because of the way he shot it without even thinking about how everybody that has to make this video come forward to make it, right? So in the contract, I said, okay, cool, I'm completely fine with the contract. So I wrote up the stipulations that I wanted on my contract. I can show y'all the contract. I should have it somewhere still on my phone. Let me see if I still got it. So Cloud's manager at the time, this dude named Justin, who was over the contracts, right? Because
Shouts out to Justin, man. Big mama. All right. So I want to read y'all the contracts. And at the end of the day, negotiations are negotiations. You can ask for what you ask for. And either I say yes and you say yes. I say yes, you say no. You say yes, I say no. But negotiations are just negotiating. I just want to let y'all know if this is like, you know, regular or not. Because this sounds about on par for what we got going on. Drama style commentary, base pay $200 per video for up to 40 minutes of raw footage. I just and maybe we're paying for speed here. I do think 200 is a bit out there. I think 200 is a bit out there. And I would want to know where these numbers are being based on. This would be a question that I would have to ask him. Let's take it from a perspective of an Omeezy channel. Last month, I didn't even get to 24 videos or 25 videos, but my goal every single month is to do 25 videos. 25 at 200 puts you at $5,000 a month, puts you at $60,000 a year. For what it's worth, industry standard prices for editors is not this. It's not this, right? Oh, hold on. We got some wedding fund donations now. Give a fuck about none of this shit. Shouts out to Andre for $2 says, love from KC, #wedding fund. Hey. Yeah. Okay. Shout out to Andre. And the wedding fund. The wedding fund is going okay. It's going okay, chat. I did buy some shoes today. I got vices just like everybody else, y'all. I got vices just like everybody else. Oh wait, hold on. Did Droopy send something? Was there another one that's going to the wedding fund? Uh-oh. Droopy for $2. Dink Alert and W Cereal Choice. I appreciate you, gang. Put that to the wedding fund too. Run up that wedding fund. Okay. Let's get into it. $60,000 is not what an editor, like that's not industry standard for an editor, for what it's worth. But again, these are negotiations, so it doesn't really matter. Overtime, $50 per hour if editing exceeds 4 hours of footage. Or I'm sorry, $50 per hour if editing exceeds 4 hours or footage exceeds 40 minutes. Now, you know, you can track the 40 minutes. Fair. I don't know how you would track the 4 hours. And then I would need to know what counts as an hour. At 3/4 of an hour, is that considered an hour? You know, jobs do like this. 15 minutes over the hour, 15 minutes over, is that an hour? I just don't understand these things. I'll say for what it's worth, this is not industry standard, or I keep saying industry standard. This is not standard pay rate for YouTube because of the nature of the business. The reason why YouTube has a hard time getting standardized is because the nature of the business is just so up and down. It's just so left and right. And I would say that about content creation as a whole. Now, some people standardize and have standardized their pay scale and their structures and all that. Mr. Beast is somebody who has a very standard structure. AMP, for what it's worth, has a very standard structure. That's fine. But when we go down several levels to content creators like OneCloud, like myself, like Alex, like Berto, like anybody that we're talking about that's not to this level of a business. And I just thought about that too. If OneCloud was making as much money as he was making, it wouldn't be an LLC. It would be an S corp. But I'm at that point, I'm really just glazing. It's super hard to do these industry standard-esque type things. What if he stopped going to you for videos? I guess you wouldn't necessarily care about that. But it's hard to keep that. It's hard to keep that situation intact with all this pay. Or I'm sorry, that's not what I wanted to say. Industry standard stuff is hard to do in an environment that's ever changing. So many things change in YouTube, and you've got to be flexible. You've got to be able to be flexible to go with the style and the flow and all these other things like that. If I stop doing these edited videos and go to live streams and reactions, unless my editor wants to be X'd out of any pay, my thumbnail guy wants to be X'd out of any pay, they have to be flexible. And this is me coming from a very unique perspective as somebody who has been successful in YouTube and as somebody who has worked on the back end for some of the biggest creators in the space, relatively speaking. So I don't know what to tell people. Somebody said Berto was making a good point. Berto says, Alex has every right to feel upset he got paid late, but in the end, he got paid in full and blew this out of the water. And his second video shows that he needs to get his emotions in check and grow up. He says to him, good luck to the young man on his journey. And Toyin, we're not. $200 and no late fees. It's hard to get standard in this. This is just not. This is not that type of business that has standard requirements. Let's take it to the NBA space. Like, there's so many things that happen in the NBA on a day-to-day basis, where, you know, it can't be a standard. Hey, this is a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 type situation. We're in the playoffs. This crazy thing happens. That crazy thing happens. Trade season happens. All these different things happen. And for what it's worth, it makes for a terrible work environment. Do not get me wrong. I think working for a creator is like one of the worst things in the world. And Omar can say that. Omar, over a lot of other people, can say that. I can say that. I've done it all. I've done it all for creators. Most people have not done it all like I have. Working for content creators is dog shit. I talked about it in the last video. I was at the Swapped, which was Reggie and Rod's stream for Valentine's Day, their love show. And shouts out to Thomas, Big Thomas. I've seen Thomas, Reggie's cameraman, be on camera for 17 straight hours. For what it's worth, Thomas got about the same pay. Right? And after that swap show, they flew to DC, if I'm not mistaken, flew back and did all these. I've seen these things before. This is a dog shit industry to work in. It really, really is. No different than the entertainment industry. The celebrity, there's very little structure in these environments because this is not a structured environment. This is a hard environment to thrive in, grow in, be successful in. And for what it's worth, this is not a career that pays a livable wage. Especially on the back end, you're banking on the creator that you're putting into, investing into, to blow up and be super huge. But for what it's worth, this for all intents and purposes is a dog shit industry. Even for the creators itself, there's some things to work. There's some dog shit things about it too. The only reason why you would do it is if you loved it and you enjoyed it. It's just as simple as that. Straight up. It's just as simple as that. Payments weekly, Sunday by 11:59 p.m. $25 late fee. I actually don't have a problem with that. $25 per day per late fee. I don't have a problem with that. With these new things being baked in with these new things being baked into these apps and stuff like that. And for what it's worth, they're new. Like Zelle, you can do a reoccurring payment. What makes it interesting though is that you can't necessarily do a reoccurring payment for the type of work that's being done. But if we can go ahead and estimate, hey, you're going to do 5 videos a week. We're doing 5 videos a week. I can do the math on that. That's about a band a week. I can go ahead and just send that over. I can go ahead and send that over. Any other stuff will adjust on top of that, but that's where it is. Performance bonus. This is an interesting one. This is an interesting one. Performance bonus, 500K views within 7 days equals $100, plus $100 for each 100K views within the 7-day period. This one right here, again, it's negotiation. You can ask for whatever. He could have asked for a per diem of $200 a week. He could have asked for Skittles in his rider. He could have asked for whatever. So it's negotiations. I would want to know how many people are set up to have a bonus structure within their contractual agreement with the creator. For performance on the video that they edited, created a thumbnail for, etc., etc. I could see if the performance was based on things directly related to editing, but I can't say that views is a metric that is directly correlated to editing and only editing. I can't personally say that. I wouldn't have not agreed to this at all. There's so many factors that come into play when it comes to views. I would not have this in the contract. As the adult that is overseeing the situation and giving an opinion, again, I would give pushback and just ask these different things. How can we track your editing time? How can we track if there's overtime involved? I don't know. Payments will solve. Performances. Okay, there's 50 things. It could be a super hot, trendy topic. It could be a great thumbnail. It could be a great title. What if they click on the video, but my average view duration is shorter? Is that not a reflection on the editing? Right? So I would want to know, like, why you think that specifically corresponds to like you and your work that's doing. This one's interesting. Revisions. 1 to 2 rounds included additional build separately. There's no outline of what build separately means. I actually think this one is pretty standard in like creative spaces. I would say this isn't standard for somebody that you have a relationship with. The edits should be pretty cut and dry. But I will say, when somebody's tasked with giving that much creative freedom on something, and you're tasked with bringing this commentary on the subject matter of Raisin Bran Crunch to life, it is a pretty decent idea to have some sort of clause about revisions, because revisions can potentially get out of control. But I will say, I would just again ask him, are revisions happening that much and that often in order for you to put this type of clause in the contract? I think that's very interesting. It may be. It truly, totally may be. So again, this is what he said. Yeah.
Because Cloud was like, he's trying to get more corporate and stuff like that. So I had to talk to Justin mainly about my contract stipulations. And as you see right here, these were the stipulations I had, like drama style commentary, my base to pay. I had like an overtime stipulation, right? To make sure that the video was shot in a specific way to where I wouldn't get locked in for a specific amount of pay, but I have to do a lot more work, right? And one of the most importantly things I put was, the late fee, because like I said, Cloud would like drag his feet on paying us editors, right? And I had a performance bonus and stuff like that because they were talking about some performance bonus, when real actuality, they just put the performance bonus in there to try to convince me to accept a lower amount of pay or some shit like that. right? And like, to be honest, for the work that I did, and like I said, if you just look at the numbers and you look at all, you know, the work that I put in, I don't think this is a crazy contract at all. I think this is well deserved, and honestly, if I wanted a little bit more, I don't think I would be that crazy in asking. But anyways, the more I talk with Clouds,
One more thing that I need to tell this young man, and would tell this young man. Supply and demand in this industry is a bitch. Uh-oh. We got something to add to the wedding fund. Supply and demand in this industry is a bitch. Shouts out to JP, or Jay said it, or JP said it, my bad. L Reader.
He's on fire.
For $5 says, want to support the hashtag wedding fund, brother. Congratulations. No, most people aren't asking for a lot of what he said, but with that being said, again, you ask for what you ask for. I don't think some of this stuff is all the way crazy. There should be some stuff that's a little bit ironed out, though. The overtime thing was crazy. Supply and demand in this industry is a bitch. For what it's worth, a lot of editors out there. A lot of editors. A lot of people who can do thumbnails. Not a lot of jobs. Not a lot of jobs. I can scroll my YouTube home feed and kind of guess how many people actively pay somebody to do to have jobs. Remember, that concept of the creator economy is a new thing. So, well, let me do this exercise first. Let's keep it a buck. We pay somebody to edit, and we pay somebody to do thumbnails. This channel, Women's Hoops Masterclass, does not. The Effects Guy does not. Tony Harvin does not. Mr. Who's the Boss does. The Deep Three don't, technically speaking, but they do, technically speaking. The Deep Three have a host on the show, edit the videos, and come up with the concepts and all these for the thumbnails and stuff like that, and titles and all that. But they do have somebody to do the thumbnails. The person who does the thumbnails is the significant other of the person who edits. I would assume that ABC News does these more professional things they do. The NBA does, of course. Remember who I'm talking about and saying who does. I don't think Bays Talks does. One Cloud 9 does, based off of what we know. Aiden's Bulls Show does. LJ does not. Young Don does not. Gabby Bell, from my understanding, does not. I highly doubt. Well, maybe Dave does. Real Talk does. Real Talk does. Real Talk does. Real Talk has somebody. James A. Janice does not for thumbnails, from my understanding, but for editing and story writing, he does. Prims does not. Are letting them do. They do. So I say all that to say, a lot more does not than does. And then when we get into the meat and potatoes of who does and who doesn't, very few people are paying one portion of the pie, 5 bands a month for, or $200 a video. Very, very, very few people are paying $200 a video for the work that's being done. Learned this the hard way when I left AMP. I was getting paid X amount of dollars when I was working at AMP. And when I had left, it was very hard for me to find a job in the content creator sphere that was even looking for these things. It is true. It's just true. Shouts out to the Real Saint for $10. Berto and Omizi show why Unk is prestige. We too old for this YN shit. Also, keep the contracts in paper. Otherwise, you playing risky. Also, good, my back hurt. I'm surprised he didn't actually ask for healthcare. Well, appreciate that. Appreciate that, Real Saint. Yeah, Karstein. I watch a lot of YouTube. I'm all over the place. All right, we got like 10 minutes left in this. Let's keep going.
manager. As you'll see in these messages right here, it just seems like I was getting the runaround. Like, it's like I would talk to Cloud's manager in Cloud, and they both would make it seem like, you know, everything I wanted in the contract was fine. They were like, you know, you worked with us for a long time. We really appreciate your work. That's why we asked you to come back. You know what I mean? Like, we're really cool with all that. But it's like, once they finally sent me the contract after I asked for the stipulations that we both agreed upon, the contract damn near didn't even have half of the stipulations that I put in there. It was like I was having to basically keep on saying the same thing.
Wait. Did he open it for a second? I find it interesting that he did not.
Stipulations that
I find it interesting that he did not leak the contract.
I put in there. It was like I was having
Fuck. Hold on.
contract damn near didn't even have half of the stipulations that I put in there.
Oh, got him. Got him. Got him, nigga. Ball game. Let me see if I could do this off my phone. Got him. Read this shit to y'all, boys. Hell no, off my phone it look crazy. All right. The video editor agreement. The video editor agreement. Agreement in quotation is made and intended or entered into as of October 1st, 2025 by name. Which, man, they put real names in this, so I'm definitely not gonna. The scope of work. The editor agrees to provide video editing services for OneCloud9 YouTube channel. This includes editing raw video footage into complete high-quality YouTube videos, adding transitions, titles, background music, sound effects, subtitles, and other post-production elements as required. Now, this is somebody who either ChatGPT'd a contract, or for what it's worth, they have done contracts before. The reason why is because there are different elements to editing. Editing is not a one size fits all. There could potentially be a person who grades or color grades. There could potentially be a person who, a person who does music. There can be a person who does all the effects. There's many different points to elements. And in a professional setting, they will break all this down. And these might be 5 different people. I'm pretty sure this is the work of Justin, which, you know, it's his manager. So I feel confident in saying this, but it's a very professional, laid out contract. Blah, 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 blah. Ensuring the content aligns with the visual and creative style of the OneCloud9 channel. Delivering videos in the format and resolution specified by the client, typically 16:9, 4K, or 1080p, or MP4. Damn, they put that. Okay, this is come on. Compensation. The client shall pay the editor $200 per video. The client shall pay the editor $50 per brand partnership commercial edit. Payment, which is a valid thing. This is something extra that you have to add or edit. Payments will be made via payment method, e.g. PayPal, Wire, Zelle, Cash App, or bank transfer every Sunday, 12 p.m. Central. Got that in there. Invoices will be provided by the editor 12 hours prior to payment. Very important. A 12-hour turnaround on an invoice is also, my God, I don't know. That's insane. That's doing donuts. Late payments will result in a $25 late fee. Cool. Deadlines. Let's see what the deadlines say. The deadlines say, okay. Deadlines and delivered. Deadlines must be mutually agreed upon for each project. Timely communication. I don't know. Intellectual property. All final videos and projects are considered work for hire and the sole property of the client. The editor may not reuse, resell, or redistribute any work created under this agreement without written permission. The editor may include completed videos in a personal portfolio. That's fine. Confidentiality. The editor agrees to keep confidential all unpublished materials, assets, and communications related to the One Cloud 9 YouTube channel. Boy, it's great that he didn't sign this because he snitched. This includes, but is not limited to, unpublished video content, branding materials, passwords, strategies, and scripts. Termination. Either party may terminate agreement with 7 days written notice. If I can't read that bottom part is way too crazy. It's blurry. Okay, standard contracty stuff, nothing crazy juicy. But we at least have communication and conversation, right? So, with that being said, I think what's interesting though is the way that this is being framed is though, and One Cloud said this in his response, as if somebody has to accept your terms. Sure, they left stuff out. That's what contract negotiations are for. And for what it's worth, contract negotiations go on for an extremely long time. People are sports fans in here. I don't necessarily have to, deep dive into it. But contract negotiations aren't just, hey, you tell me my terms, I sign. That's not how this works, gang. That is not how this works. Where Alex did slip up, and this is one of my only true judgments, is that he kept working through not having this contract signed. The contract was such a big deal to him, he should have just stopped. I would have just stopped. I wouldn't have edited anything anymore.
It was like I was having to basically keep on saying the same thing that we already agreed upon. And it's like, Cloud's manager would be like, yeah, I'm handling like a meeting with so-and-so rich creator.
This
right
is
now,
wild.
I can't really deal with this.
That's
right now.
wild.
Or he would just like ignore me for a day. Kind of like I said, it's like an external validation, like power thing. Like they care about that image of being at the top of the food chain and they want other people to be on the bottom. So when a guy like me who knows his own worth comes with my own agreements in a contract, because they just thought they were going to give me a contract. And
Yeah, let me just say here, I would want people to know that like communications, underarm is itchy. I've been itching this whole stream. Communications don't necessarily work like that. Like communications in professional settings. First and foremost, bare minimum standard for communication when it comes to these professional environments, since we want to be professional, is 24 hours. You give somebody the courtesy of 24 hours before you double down on the communication and the messaging. That's what you do. But this other stuff that he's talking about, I mean, it's interesting. I don't think that there was an intentional we're running around from him. I really don't. People get busy. Again, that's why contract negotiations are lengthy. But they're lengthy for a reason. We want to make sure that we get this right. But this entitlement of communication in this fashion is a little bit of a reach to me. That's a reach. I was just going to, his own worth comes with my own agreements in a contract, because they just thought they were going to give me a contract and I was just going to sign it but just like you thought you would give them a contract and they would sign it. So I don't understand the difference there. Right? Now, I will say this. If you view yourself as a true freelancer and these are your agreements and arrangements and they don't meet your agreements and arrangements, then you just move on. You move on. Hey, my bare minimums, I do when I go to look for somebody to do thumbnails for me and they say, well, my thumbnails are $50. It's not a lot of back and forth. Either I can or can't do $50. If I can do $50, then I proceed with the communication. If I can't, oh, okay, well, that's nice to know. I appreciate you. But so just like you're saying, they gave me a contract. They thought they were just going to give me a contract. You thought you were just going to give them a contract too. I thought I just really needed the money or something like that, not knowing that, my mom works in contracting. So I'm really good with contract information and I know how to get my own stipulations, right? And I know. Well, clearly you're not, because you don't understand how negotiations work. And again, I'm not saying this at least I don't mean for it to come off aggressively. It probably is, but clearly you don't know how negotiations work though. If the idea is that they're just supposed to sign off on it and we keep it pushing, that's truly not how it works. My own worth, most important. So it was almost like they were like trying to play this ego battle with me, whereas they were trying to get as much out of me while trying to give as little, which, hey, to a degree, that's business, right? But like I said, I thought we were friends. Like I said, Cloud will always call and you can't pick and choose when it is business and when it is friends. Right? Because if it was friends, this contractual thing wouldn't even be a conversation. It would not be. but now it's business and you want to use that to your advantage. I don't understand that.
Asked me for advice on things. We would hang out, we chill with each other, you know what I'm saying? So I assumed like we were cool, and it's like the thing I'm asking for, isn't unrealistic anyways, and I've already done so much work for you, paid and for free, at a fast rate, at a high quality. What more could you want, right? So honestly, it felt more and more like I was just getting the runaround and disrespected almost. You know what I mean? So due to me feeling disrespected, and at this point I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna hold off on this whole thing, period. Mind you, during this whole time, I was still editing videos for Cloud. The moment we patched everything up around September 11th, we instantly started working.
9/11?
He was trying to get that fast output again that we had in December. So
Whoa.
I was still working for Cloud while we were going through this contract dispute. I was still making videos. He was still pumping out the videos that I was editing, right? So I told Cloud and his manager that until we got this contract straight, because me deep down, I felt like they purposely were trying to misunderstand me or make it hard on me just so they could have this perceived ego and power over me. I wasn't going to edit any more videos until, I received my payment for the last couple of videos that I edited, and until we got this contract straight, because I didn't like the runaround that I was getting, right? And as soon as I said this, it was dead silent. Let me see if I can get the dates. I have the dates right here too. So I texted Cloud and his manager on the 4th, and I told, his manager, I was like, I've already told, Cloud or whatever, I'm not going to be doing videos anymore. And I really just expressed to him that I really didn't like in our last conversation. We already agreed to most of these things that you still chose to not put into the contract.
Okay. Again, I so far think that everything that's being said is fine. There's no problem with it as far as these things. I think that when we have the conversation about knowing the worth, we don't have to do this. We don't have to justify these things. That's it. That's it. I said my piece. We keep it pushing. Less of an indictment on him. Again, I know that these people are young. In our last conversation, you said you would put an agreement with limits to ensure there's no extra work given, and you neither added the and you neither added the 40 limit clause or video construct. So that's where the 50 every 5 minutes came in. 50 every 5 minutes. Wow, that's insane. So it's gonna be that, or you're gonna have to add more specific details to ensure my compensation to work ratio. Fair though, that's fair. Revision strain GPU. We don't have to do that. And after 2, it becomes excessive and nitpicky with creators, and sometimes revisions are because creators' mistakes, so that ensures, again, fair compensation for work ratio. I make it plain. You already said your piece. I think the best thing, like you said, was just they did, but the communication stopped. You saying that you're gonna stop work was the best thing, though. I think that's great. It's perfectly fine and dandy. Until you get things ironed out, let's just not do any more work.
And it was like after this, it was dead silent. For 5 days, it was dead silent. Nobody said anything to me. Nobody paid me. Nobody brought up the contract again. Mind you, at this point, I don't even care about the contract. I'm just trying to get my money back because I already edited the videos and he posted them. So I'm like, you already posted the videos too. Just go ahead and give me my money first. So I hit up Cloud, like I said, the same day as you'll see right here.
I'll also say this. This is, one thing that is, I think, a little bit unfair from Alex's POV is that he knows that how content creators get paid. And again, you got bills throughout the month. It's ultimately about your structure. But most people pay people on a set day for one flat fee, or for one flat amount of money. And it's not a week-to-week basis. YouTubers don't get paid weekly. They get paid monthly. They get paid once a month, kind of like teachers do. And so this weekly tip is a little bit different, but everybody has their own, different negotiating thing. I won't give anything to that. I won't give anything to that. It's just it's interesting that that's the way that this negotiation went.
October the 4th, I told him I wasn't going to be editing anymore until, we got the contract straight and I got paid. And again, 2 days, radio silence. I wasn't paid. So on the 8th, I hit up, Cloud, and I told him, I said, I'm going to send an invoice. Can you just give me my money? And, that's it. We don't have to worry about anything else. If not, I'm going to resort to legal action. And he laughed. Mind you, this is when the crash out gene came on.
And this is when Cloud said that he was wrong. So he's wrong.
Because whenever I'm being serious and a nigga like laugh in my face.
Yeah, this was
What?
childish.
Cloud laughed in my face, and this is the message that he said. He said, "I'm paying you next week. Verbally, I may have agreed to pay you Sunday, not in a contract though. So you can't rush me no matter what you try. You'll receive your payment on my time, not yours."
He's
Talk to
wilding for
Justin
that. He's
further details.
totally
And that's
wilding for
whenever
that.
I hit Justin and asked about, like I said in the last slide I just showed, and again, I was ignored. So as you'll see, I got the runaround in the earlier part of our relationships, like I said, that I should have noticed, but I didn't, or I just ignored. And as you'll see around this time, I'm getting that same runaround when it comes to, you know, just making sure my contract is straight so I'm protected just as much as they're protected. Just making sure I can get paid fairly and on time. And you'll see they're giving me the runaround. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like, at this point, you know, I was about to crash out. I was about to do something crazy because I'm like, yo, I just want my money and y'all are playing with me. Y'all don't know if I got bills. Y'all don't know what I have going on. Like, but again, these people, they don't have any sympathy for people because all they care about is that external validation in that image. You know, it's an ego thing with a lot of these people. You know, like a lot of times with a lot of these creators, they don't feel good about who they are as people. They're not truly confident in who they are and secure.
So I'll say this. I don't know how I don't understand how this is an indictment on him wanting external validation.
Cause I'm like, yo, I just want my money and y'all are playing with me. Y'all don't know if I got bills. Y'all don't know what I have going on. Like, but again, these people, they don't have any sympathy for people because all they care about is that external validation in that image. You know, it's an ego thing with a lot of these people. You know, like a lot.
So I don't know when them retaining the money has to do with the external validation. Probably a question that I would ask. And then I would ask him this specific monologue that he's going, or this specific portion of the monologue that he's about to go on. Is this about like, do you feel this way about OneCloud specifically? If not, what's the point?
A lot of times with a lot of these creators, they don't feel good about who they are as people. They're not truly confident in who they are and secure in that. So
do you feel that way about OneCloud9? This is a pretty big claim. You've also put like, I mean, the story has been about him. Title thumbnail is about him. This video has been about him. I wouldn't take this moment to generalize creators, and then I would try to attack this specific thing. So if this isn't applicable to him, which it may be, I would want to know if he feels that way about OneCloud.
only thing they have over people is their money or their subscribers and stuff like that. And it felt like in this situation, that same thing was being done onto me, when in all actuality, I was just trying to make sure that I was fairly compensated for my work, which, by the way, they asked me to do. I wasn't bothering them. I was living my life, and they came and hit me up a couple of days before my birthday because they wanted to work with me again. And I got to run around for a couple of more days, right? And it seemed like for a minute, I genuinely wasn't going to get paid. But, you know, I talked to one of my friends. Shout out to my dog that I talked to. I'm not going to say who, but, you know, he really, you know, imparted me with some wise words, and it allowed me to think about the situation for a second. And I ended up didn't doing what I was about to do. And since I was able to chill out, I refined what I was going to do. And let's just say based off what I did, Cloud gave me my money back, right? And I ended up getting my money back, and he was like, I don't know if you'll see the text messages right here. It looked, he felt like it was out of a, you know what I mean? Like it was out of a movie or something like that. Just want to let you know you played yourself out of a job. But you know,
yeah, they was both being, this was sassy on Cloud. That was sassy. Come on. Unnecessary.
you know, Cloud clearly was like really pissed off and angry, but it's like, you know, nigga, you should have gave me my money. Anyways, I got my money back, and you know, now obviously I don't work with him, I don't associate with him. But the reason why I'm telling you this story is because, one, first off, always make sure you have a contract with anything, because whenever you don't have a contract like me and you just go in it willy-nilly, shit like this happens, and you got to deal with dumb shit like this. But more importantly, you have to know your worth in this shit, bro. A lot of these creators, they're not good people. They're not people who want to help you. I don't care how willy-nilly or how nice they come across on camera. A lot of these people, it's a business at the end of the day, and they're only out for themselves and their brands and their image. And I wish I knew that a long time ago, because when I first got in the industry, as you'll see with niggas like this, I thought shit was sweet. I thought if people were nice to you, and because y'all work together and you know you did a lot for them, they would repay you for that, and like, you know, they would be nice to you and they would think about you and look out for you in return. But
I do agree with the general sentiment that people with these content creators do have on rose-tinted glasses, and you know, they get so enamored with the situation that they overlook shit that, you know, probably shouldn't be overlooked. And you know, that them being their favorite creator from them being a child clouds their judgment, and it allows them to have things done onto them that are, you know, nasty. It is what it is. It is what it is. But with that being said, you grow from it, you learn from it, and the next time around, you don't let those things happen to you. I agree with that.
A lot of people do not think like that. Like basically, shit is not sweet in this game at all. And the moment you realize that and realize these people are no better than the everyday people that you see on the street that are extremely flawed, you can truly find who's for you. You know, a lot of these people, like, they're great creators, but they're not good humans. You know what I mean? So I just want to say, please have discernment, have a contract, and know your fucking worth. If I didn't know my worth, I still right might now be under a terrible contract, being overworked and underpaid and being talked down to because I need to, you know what I mean, pay my bills, or because I want to, you know, just be close to the industry or something like that. But just know your worth, y'all, please. But anyways, yeah, that's just the video, man. I just want to, yeah, like, I held on to the story for a little minute because I was like, you know, maybe I shouldn't say that, because I feel like there's always this unspoken rule amongst like creators or just people in industries where like people would do fuck shit and nobody just says anything. If it wasn't done implicitly on stream where every commentary channel can talk about it, nobody wants to talk about it. But it's like, fuck that shit. The reason why a lot of people like that feel so comfortable being shitty people is because they treat so many people like shit and they don't say anything. Especially if you're like an editor, or if you are in a position where you work for a creator, it's almost like you're at the mercy of that creator. So they can talk to you however they want. A lot of the times they treat you however they want, and there's not much you can do because, again, you're at the mercy of them. And being at the mercy of a lot of these guys is not something you want to be at. But anyways, yeah, listen, man, that's the video. I'm Alex Gordine, man. I appreciate y'all so much for loving.
I do agree with the last sentiments that are shared in this video. And again, I think the overall point is that, you know, that like this is still the Wild West. I don't know how much I can oppose on that. This is still the Wild West. There is no HR department. There is no, you know, hiring office. There is no training. There is none of that for this. A lot of this is, and it's because we live in America. We don't usually operate like this. But a lot of this is like communal endeavors in order to get jobs done. You know, I find you in my Discord, I meet you in a DM or in chats or in all these other things like that. And you know, that's how people get it done. And we're just trying to make a way, because there is no, for the most part, a lot of people have no clue about any sorts of business acumen that they're supposed to be having in order to get these things done. So it, you know, again, I think that this is a dog shit environment to work in. Full stop. These people don't make it any better. Like, people in the industry don't make it any better. I think that was a reach. I think a lot of what was said was a reach. And I watched One Cloud's POV on the situation, and I didn't even really need to watch too much of One Cloud's POV on the situation. Like, I didn't care about the trip shit. Like, that doesn't matter. Did he pay you on time? Did he not pay you on time? What is considered on time? What is standard? Let me understand about the contractual things. Those are the things that more so like piqued my curiosity in this conversation. But for what it's worth, any investigation of those things, respectfully speaking, like, he didn't do anything totally crazy. I guess you could say that the pay thing was crazy, but he didn't do anything totally crazy. Again, don't make a video, and I'm not even saying this because I think that I am holier than thou. Gotta preface these things that I am so great. I'm Omeezy, the creator, X, Y, and Z, this, that, third, and the fourth, whatever other turn of phrase goes there. I'm saying this because I saw Berto make a video. Then you made a video based on Berto's video. And I don't think that I said anything insane about Alex. But if you do watch this and you do feel inclined on making a video, do not text me, call me. Let's set up a stream. And we can kind of go through these things. We can have a conversation. Because the ability to talk to just a camera and all these things like that without any sort of pushback is you know, doing wonders right now in the YouTube streets. As I go through his comment section, it does look like people have turned on him. At the end of the day, though, these people are young. You know, you'll find your way. And I don't even think, At one point, I did think that this was stand-em. At one point, I did think that this was stand-em. But as people decided to put in paragraphs and longer explanations about what they believed was right, what they believed was wrong, that's when I knew it was no longer stand-up gang. It was straight up, hey, this is their actual side, their actual beliefs on this situation, and you know, it don't look good. He changed the title. Who changed the title? Oh, there was a title change. Oh yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate everybody for showing up and showing out. I will say, in the video that I just posted, that is currently sitting at a 2 out of 10. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to the community. I did go in depth on other creators that were, objectively speaking, insanely egregious, like Keneal Joseph throwing a milkshake at his cameraman / editor for not getting a video out in time. No justification for that there. Please go check that out. Go check that out. I know what I'm gonna say. New videos every single day. Shout out to everybody who showed up, showed out, spent your hard-earned eyeballs with the community to dissect the beef and the drama. Maybe there will be a continuation. I'm bored. My fiance is going out of town this weekend. I'm ready. Appreciate everybody for spending $1 with me. Shout out to JKP, that guy for real, Droopy, Andre, JP Said It, and the Real Saint for sending in those super chats. I'm gonna get Danielle on the camera soon so we can discuss some of the girly pop drama and get some commentary on that. Why you stop? No. But until next time, I will see you guys. Oh, well, that video with me and Danielle will be a members video. But until next time, I will see you guys later.